first sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the hardly hear. Raising voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits grow. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. Enthralled and feel, ready or die band.
All right, it is that time of the week. It is time for the Drive the State Blitz, and let's say hello.
Hello.
It's time to drive.
Yes, it is.
How you doing, Chris?
Not much sleeping the last couple of days.
Oh, I've been up since 5:45, so I've been up all day, and caffeine has been what's going on, and now it is going to be sweet tea in the Gator Cup here. So yes, see Mark Cannon's in the chat. I know Emery's in the chat. Baylor is in the chat. How's everybody doing here as we get to Drive the State? Sorry, we're a couple minutes late. Technical issues. Chris cannot hear. I could hear him. He could hear me, but I couldn't hear him. So
I had issues with his microphone. I don't know what's going on with it.
I blame the stuff from AWS yesterday. How about that? David Kozlowski, how you doing? Good to see you here as we come to you here. If you're not a subscriber on the YouTube channel, go to Florida HS Football on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell when we post new content. Is that Lane Kiffin, Sweet Tea? I hear Lane Kiffin is signing an extension at Ole Miss, so no, that is not Lane Kiffin, Sweet Tea. So with that said, we got a lot to get to here, and we'll do this over here for about the next hour or so. And then coming up, we'll have the Southwest Florida Blitz, the Space and Treasure Coast Blitz. We will have South Florida, and then we will have Tampa Bay editions of the Blitz tonight. So 5 shows all the way up until about 10:20 tonight here on Florida HS Football YouTube channel. That's Christopher Like. I'm Josh Wilson here, and boy, you know what? I made a comment earlier on Twitter about some of the stuff here, Chris, as we get ready to go into these projected playoff brackets based upon the FHSAA rankings. And I got to tell you, everybody's I think everybody in the media side and a lot of coaches are in agreement that there's just so many issues with the rankings. Something
is off this year, and nobody can put their finger on what it is. Oh, we know what it is. It's screwed up.
It's screwed up, and well, you know what? Forgive me for what I'm about to do. Head to head, and
yeah,
SOS.
Yeah.
Because honestly, well, I really was saying, damn. I was just trying to be funny. I don't know if it came across as funny, but it just honestly, damn the strength of the schedule, damn the head-to-head, because really, there's a lot of that right there, and it just seems like there's some good examples of this where the head-to-head didn't. You might as well just throw the head-to-head out the door, and it didn't even exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the head-to-head, and you have issues with strength of schedule in some places, and strength of schedule playing a factor in other places. I don't know. I mean, we can't figure it out.
No, and I can't figure it out, and that's the thing. And yes, overwhelming praise to McCarthy last week against American Heritage. We'll talk about that as we get into this here, and let's go ahead and dive into this here in just a second here as we put everything up here onto the screen here. And with that said, let's take a look at what we've got here with the Class World projected championship bracket. There's going to be the FIT bracket, so let's go ahead and announce it now, Chris. I don't have a graphic for it, but we'll go ahead and push it now. Is that Thursday, November 6th? Yes, the FHA did come out today. Playoff brackets will be released on Thursday, November 6th at noon. Then the FIT brackets will follow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So that's Eastern time, 11 a.m. for y'all in Central time, and 1 p.m. Central time for the FIT brackets on Thursday, November 6th. What we want to do is we're going to come to you live about 30 minutes. We may do 11:15 start. Depends on what we got content wise, but we were looking at 11:30 to 3:30 show that day to basically set the table for what the FHA is going to bring us. We're going to have some guests. I've already talked to some people. Larry Bluestein, possibly going to be. It just depends on what his show schedule's like. I've got Mike Rideout from Main Street Daily News. I got Alex Ottersinski, who we're going to have on tonight, by the way, for this Space and Treasure Coast Blitz. Irish Bill Hamill. I'm still waiting to hear from Charles Jones, trying to work on a couple other people for that. But we're going to analyze those brackets in real time, and we're going to talk about everything in real time when we go to do that Thursday, November 6th.
The show's going to be a who's who.
It's going to be a who's who, and it's going to be basically a roundtable discussion of everything right out of the gate, because honestly, it really boils down to it. There's going to be a lot of
this ranking system is going to cause some big chaos in the actual postseason race.
And honestly, I wish they could just put the brakes on them. But that said, we have the projected World Class Championship bracket here. As you see here, there's really not too much change here in the World bracket here. Port St. Joe does come into the bracket here this week. Cottondale's kind of out of it right this second. And when you look at it, you see Sneed sitting there hanging around, but Bluntstown's still at 1. I'm still struggling with Bluntstown given the strength of schedule. I gave Bluntstown, they're 9-0. The Florida Power Rankings Index had them 5 last week. They're going to be about roughly in that range again this coming week here. But what's surprising me is that we've got Chiefland, who jumped to number 1 last week, will be number 1 again this week. I feel like there's a little bit of disagreement with our rankings to what the FHA's got. Now Hawthorne sitting there is sitting there at 2. Hawthorne sitting at 2. Actually, that seems to be about right. Taylor County at 4. You see, again, Chiefland at 3. When you look at it, we start to talk about it. I feel like we got some fluctuations here that I feel like there's just some things not being considered.
Yeah, Chiefland at 3 just seems too low to me. I look at that and I see Madison County and Rolston in the first round. As Zach was saying here, that's a big Final Four game right there in the first round. Yeah, and it really is. And I mean, right now, Madison County is kind of still hovering lower in our rankings here. It's a lot of it has to do with this. There's not some of the games they should have won, they didn't win. Now they did beat Florida High, which they weren't projected to win, but they won it. So that helped them a little bit. But when we're looking at this,
looking at some of the teams here, I just feel like, one team that I feel like maybe is making progress but is not showing up, maybe Hamilton County. That's a team that, Liberty County's made progress, is showing up. Hamilton County not showing up here in the top 16. Trenton is struggling. Trenton has dropped 3 games straight. They've come down. Now they're at 14. Now they're on the verge of potentially could be out if they drop any more games. I mean, there's just a lot going on here. I don't really know the FIT bracket for the world Mark, that is Mark brings up a good question here, and I do not think they have said if that's going to be a Saturday deal on terms of the state championship game, because I know a lot of people complained that those championship games being on a Friday, it affected people who decided that, it was either choice of going to the World Championships in the villages or going to state semifinal games. And a lot of people opted for state semifinal games versus coming to the World State Championships in the villages. Yeah,
and you got to fix that. You can't, even if you put the championship game on a Thursday. I mean, that would still help things out a little bit more.
I agree, and I think that's got to be solved here. That's got to be taken care of here as we go through this here. But nothing has been determined in terms of the dates yet, and that in terms of the date, is it going to be on Friday or is it going to be on Saturday? I really hope that the main state champion. I really actually hope that the state because they're going to have the FIT games there too, by the way. So, My thought is they probably are going to put 2 of the FIT games Friday, do the FIT, and then do the World State Championship on that Saturday. But again, I don't know. I can't tell you what to begin. I'm not inside the brains of the FHSAA. I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, we can't get inside their head right now. That's the point.
But I feel like when we're looking at some teams here, I feel like there's also, Jay's another team I feel like could be in the mix. Sneed's. I'm still trying to pull my head around with Sneeds because I don't know, but there's still a lot here to work with. I mean, again, we got this, next week, and then we get the final brackets. Why do even do? See, you know what? I literally put the I wish we just pump the brakes on that the FIT stuff, because really, honestly, I am not a fan of putting teams out there for everybody deserves a trophy. Everybody deserves to participate. No, not everybody deserves to participate in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is more of a money grab to me.
I'm sorry, but I live in Florida, not Indiana. I'm being serious. I live in Florida, not Indiana, not Illinois. I don't live in those places, especially Indiana, where they just let everybody in. All right. I understand that we let everybody in back in COVID. Okay. I get that part. All right. We were in a special circumstance. This is not special circumstance. I don't like giving out participation trophies. And to me, the FIT, it was a good, nice little trial to see. Okay, great. But honestly.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either.
Yes.
It's like the open division too. I mean, in my opinion, it's a money grab.
And I just don't agree with this. This is not about it's taking the life and joy out of high school football right now. And trust me, I love this. But I don't like what the direction that we're seeing right this second. And I feel like the FHSAA Board of Directors does have a task to be able to work with here coming up here in about 2 weeks' time. And I hope and pray that some things are looked at and some things are really considered serious, and they take their due diligence looking through that. Who wants to live in Indiana? Well, my lineage goes through Indiana through my grandmother's side. So there you go. Yes. Well, the bowl game option, David Kozlowski, the bowl game option is still there. It was always there. It's always been in the rules. It's still there to this day. So, yeah. I'm just so over it. But anyways, let's move along to class.
We got plenty to do.
Yeah, I mean, let's move on to Class 1A. Let's talk about this. University Christian has moved up to 1. McClay's 2, but our rankings, what we got ran so far here, what the rankings will be out tomorrow, because you saw the forecast today. So is that looking at everything, we kind of agree with 1-2. It's just a matter of where it's going to be flipped. I feel like at some point it's going to be University Christian or Maclay. That's going to be the one in that 1-2 spot, Chris. Episcopal, Trinity Christian at 3. They did go to 4-4. They're going to get their 5th win this week. They're playing Kip Bold City this week. They're going to get 5 wins here. Not an issue. They got I know they have a big game. I'm trying to remember who they got for the last week of the season. I think it's a pretty big opponent. I don't have the schedule in front of me. Sorry if I don't know, but right off the top of my head. But what's interesting is that you see North Florida Educational has slipped back into the 8th spot. North Florida Christian is now sitting out there in that number 9 spot. They're on the outside looking in, but I will say that the Florida Power Rankings Index is kind of gravitating towards North Florida Educational to be in the playoffs now. And, and based upon what our rankings are saying, and they picked up their 5th win of the season, beating PK Young 60-0. So, and yes, impressive win for Trinity Christian indeed. Trinity Catholic, bearing a catastrophic upset this week by PK Young against Trinity Catholic. Trinity Catholic will most likely be either a 4 or 5 seed. They will be in as a district champ in that 2-team district in 1A4. But outside of that, I mean, you're pretty much looking at everybody that's going to be there. North Florida Christian still has a puncher's chance. It just, again, depends on what happens this week and this week and next week. So have to put NFC in there but our rankings actually say North Florida Educational is the better team here than North Florida Christian right the second. So we're actually kind of in agreement here in this situation. So, but with that said, let's go take a look at Class 1A Region 2 here, Chris. Carrollwood Day still the 1 seed, so the 1-8 matchup still has not changed. Father Lopez is most likely pegged in an 8 spot, despite the fact that Father Lopez is now 5-3 on the season. But the strength of schedule. See, this is where we have the issues. Strength of schedule matters on some teams, but not others. It seems like. Yeah. And that's not good enough, in my opinion. I feel like but see, that's what they're saying here. But see, our rankings is actually got everything, but it would have Father Lopez sitting there at the number 5 seed if our rankings were used to seed. So I mean, like I'll tell you this right now: Carrollwood Day, Clearwater Central Catholic, Lakeland Christian. Which 1, 2, 3, perfect. All right, get the 4 Orlando Christian Prep, perfect. By the way, Melbourne Central Catholic won that district. They beat Orlando Christian Prep for the district championship. So they're yeah. But Melbourne Central Catholic, honestly, their strength of schedule, I've got some issues with it. There's some games that they coughed up that I feel like they could have been winnable games. Or the other part of it is you schedule too tough and then you end up in a situation like this where you've got more losses than wins. Yeah. And, yeah, I don't have a problem with Melbourne Central Catholic being where they are, but it should be flipped. I mean, and then we got Victory Christian sitting there 4-4. Crescent City is probably going to be there. I mean, Crescent City probably. I mean, again, there's some things I question about the strength of schedule that is sitting in here. If that Lakeland Christian versus Victory Christian matchup holds up, that would be a rematch. That would be a rematch, district rematch right there, right out the bat. And then that Clearwater Central Catholic Indian Rocks matchup would also be a rematch from that district as well. So, what about the 6A bracket? Stay tuned. We're working through. We're going up. We're going all the way up to 7A. We started with we're at 1A, so we're working our way up, Amari. All right. So Amari's watching us on X, so sometimes it doesn't pop up on the live chat, so I apologize. That is out of my control with terms of the technology part. So, all right. Class 1A Region 3, Chris, here. St. Pete Catholic, they're dominating, sitting there at 8-0 here with 2 games left. Here thing, and our rankings say Cardinal Newman really should be the 1 seed, and I kind of agree with that, especially to the fact that they beat West Boca Raton 26-20. That was a big call of the win. I felt like that should have propelled Cardinal Newman into the 1 spot versus St. Pete Catholic. It's nothing to knock against St. Pete Catholic. I just feel like Cardinal Newman, in terms of the strength of schedule, the quality of schedule, Cardinal Newman be sitting there. St. Pete Catholic too, in my opinion. Our rankings agree with that. Southwest Florida Christian, there we got some disagreements. St. John Newman, same thing. CSN Community School, Northside Christian Evangelical Benjamin. Again, the one team that's going to be sitting there on the outside looking in is going to be First Baptist Naples, and that's just because, again, it is what it is, in my opinion here.
we're pretty much in agreement with this bracket, but these are more than likely the teams we'll see at the end of it.
No, absolutely here. And of course, as we go into Region 4 here, let's talk about this here. Shemana Madonna sitting nice and comfortably at 1 now. St. Andrews, they did lose. They had a blocked field goal against Calvary Christian Fort Lauderdale. I feel like, again, it could go 3 different ways here. But you're looking at what I feel like is the top 3, what will be the seeds behind that 2, 3, and 4. It may flip flop between Archbishop Carroll, St. Andrews, and True North.
No.
So that's what we're looking at.
I mean, of course, True North and Archbishop Carroll, they still got that game that they got to play. So.
And I don't even know if they still put that on the schedule yet or not, because I last time I looked, it had not popped up. But we'll check here in just a second here as we go through to see if they've actually added that game back in. And yeah, it is still not popped up here. I don't know what's going on, why it's not been scheduled. I'm gonna have to bring this to the attention of the FHSAA because that's not.
You wonder if they're told they're going to be penalized for not playing that game.
I do wonder about that. I really do, Chris. I really do. But I mean, you're looking at it here. You obviously got Westminster Christian, Palmer Trinity, Edison, St. John Paul II. I think those are going to be the teams you see in the bracket here. So. Just hold on and keep everything together on this one, people, because we this is what it's going to be.
Unless those 2 schools screw up and we see something weird. So
yeah, we'll see. We'll have to see if something weird happens here. But as we go in the Class 2A region wide, what's interesting is that really when we look at this here, we really don't have a lot of disagreements. Obviously, our rankings has got Baldwin sitting there above South Walton. It's obviously CEC. It's flip out the other way. Yes, Mark Cannon-Water is wet. Yes. And that deserves.
And the sky is blue.
Yeah, and that deserves another one right there. And sweet tea is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's not a lot in terms of the differences here. Obviously, I'll tell you this. I mean, Gaston County actually would be kind of in the mix because they actually picked up another win. Remember, if Gaston County wasn't playoff ineligible, they'd be sitting here in this bracket right now as a district champ. Florida High could be potentially out of this. So just to keep that in mind here. Andrew Jackson's in the mix here. Obviously, North Bay Haven. Watch carefully because North Bay Haven, they're sitting 3-5. They've got a big game against Bozeman this week. That's going to determine the district title. So if it's not Bozeman, you could be looking at either a potential chance of Rutherford going in, North Bay Haven going in. It could be a 3-way tie. So, but we'll see what happens here. But Bozeman's sitting there right now at 7. You see Andrew Jackson at 8. Andrew Jackson, some of these teams that you're seeing here, I feel like what we're seeing here actually will be the teams that we'll see in this one here.
Yeah, and leave it to that one district to really screw it all up. And Bozeman and North Bay Haven, they're fighting for that last spot, so we'll see.
Oh, you're right. They're fighting for that last spot here. You see that we got the Villages, Bradford 1, Villages 2. We're kind of in some agreement. Obviously, the Villages did lose to Cocoa. Not as bad, not as bad as they have lost in over the years to Cocoa when they have had to play them. All right. Honestly, I'll tell you this: that 27-6, that was not a blowout. I mean, I get it. Cocoa won the game. That doesn't resemble a blowout in my opinion. All right, because some people, I mean, was it a good win for Cocoa? Yes. Was it good to see Cocoa get back on the winning side of things? Yes. Obviously, they still got some work to do. I mean, now here's the thing, Chris, that I asked here about this. Does Cocoa and Apopka make that game up on November 3rd if Cocoa beats Astronaut this week?
I don't think they do.
Because Apopka's out of this. Apopka's already out. Apopka's nowhere sniffing the playoffs this year.
I don't think Cocoa needs that game, to be honest.
No, because if Cocoa beats Astronaut, they're in.
But if they lose to Astronaut,
we got a three-way. And you got a 3-way tie possibility. So you got a 3-way tie scenario. And right now, as it stands, you lose to Astronaut. Here's the thing: where's the Villages? they're still ranked above Cocoa. That would give the Villages the district title.
Yep. And not to mention Astronaut, if they beat Cocoa, they'll put Astronaut above Cocoa there.
No, absolutely. And I got to tell you, there's a lot that can happen here. And by the way, Avon Park is 8. Avon Park is sitting there at 5-3 right now. Actually, in my opinion, Avon Park probably should be a little higher. They have worked their butts off this year. Our system projected them to go 2-8. They're sitting there at 5-3 right now here as it stands here as they go into week 10. They do have to play Lake Placid this week. That'll decide that district championship for that district. But the one team that is sitting 8 in the region right now, according to the FHSAA rankings, is Newberry. They're sitting still on the outside, despite the fact they did beat Fort White this past week. As I told a couple people, Newberry's going to have to win out in order to even try to get a puncher's chance into the playoffs, because whoever's coming out of 2A7 is taking the 8 seed. It's that 7 seed that's going to be the grab.
Mm-hmm.
And right now you see Astronaut sitting, but if Astronaut could be out, win or lose against Cocoa if Newberry surges ahead.
Yeah, man. Astronaut got to hope that Newberry struggles a little bit.
So with that said, that's Class 2A Region 2 that we've got right there as we go through this here. All right, Class 2A Region 3, Cardinal Mooney sitting there still out 1. You see Somerset Canyons at 8. Somerset Canyons will be at least at 8 seed, maybe a little higher, but they are a district champ, so they are in. Same's going to go with Cardinal Mooney this week if they beat Tarpon Springs. I think that should be an easy peasy. Glade Central is a district champ. They're in. So North Broward Prep, same situation. Calvary Christian, same situation with them. They are in too. So really, I mean, the teams that you're seeing here are going to be the teams that are going to be playing in this regional bracket here. Actually,
look at that 4-5 matchup there.
That's a rematch. Rematch. So buckle up, people. Buckle up. But I'll tell you this: I think the teams that we're seeing here, the team that I feel like maybe potentially could be left out, it'd be in the Grove. I think there's going to be they may be on the outside looking in here, despite the fact that they have made some progress this year. But again, we got this week and next week. And as far as that, a couple people asked me how much more I know that the FHA will release the rankings again next week, but I know that because of the playoff brackets coming out on Thursday, not to expect a release on that following Tuesday. So Saturday's the first. Saturday, November 1st is what? So that's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So on November 4th, that week, we won't do a Drive the State show at this particular time. So because we won't have anything to talk about at that point, because we'll be in the wings waiting for the FHA to release the brackets, basically. All right, Class 2A Region 4 here as we rolling along here. You got Cardinal Gibbons sitting there at 1, Somerset Silver Palm sitting there at 8. I feel like Somerset Silver Palm's kind of getting a little bit too. I don't know.
They're getting a little too much credit.
I don't think they're getting enough credit, actually, because at Somerset Silver Palms, they're sitting there 6-2. I think that's kind of low for them. When you start looking at teams like, okay, Ransom Everglades 4-4, Killian at 4-3, North Miami Beach 4-4. The region, it just, and you know what? The one team that could potentially be on the outside looking in, Hallandale.
Yeah.
And Monsignor Pace is 2-5. By the way, they're sitting there 7, but yet here we are. Hallandale could end up being, 5-5, 6-4. So,
that brings back memories to me. So,
yeah. Emery, we will have Drive the State show next week. It'll be next week. We'll have Drive the State on this time. It's Tuesday, November 4th is where we will not have a Drive the State show, because obviously Thursday, November 6th is when the playoff brackets will come out. So there'll be nothing to talk about. So it wouldn't do us any good.
We may come up with something. We don't know. I mean,
Yeah, Somerset, Silver Palms, their only losses to NSU and Gulliver, which are not bad teams. I mean, NSU is a pretty good team over in the SSA, and then obviously Gulliver, they're the district foe there. So, but with that said, let's take a look at Class 3A Region 1 here. Rain's still sitting at 1, Chris, here. I agree with that. Bishop Kenny goes to 2. I mean, there's Rains, Bay, Yulee, Bishop Kenny. It would be the top 4 in our based on the Florida Power Rankings Index in this region. And looking at this, I do have a couple of issues with sitting there thinking that Bishop Kenny being at 2. I feel like Bishop Kenny's schedule has not been the strongest.
Yeah,
same situation.
I put Yulee at number 2.
I don't know if I would put Yulee at 2. I would prefer more. I think Bay being at 2 would be a more appropriate situation. Maybe Bishop Kenny 3, Yulee obviously at 4, because here's my thought. Obviously, Yulee took a big loss Friday night against Flatiron Palm Coast, the game that they should have won, and they took it right on the chin, basically. And but I feel like those 4 teams we just mentioned will be the top 4 seeds in that region. Obviously, you got Wakulla, there's Wakulla, there's Baker County. We got some agreements there, West Florida, and then Godby. Actually, the teams that you're seeing here, our rankings are agreeing, just not the top 4 order, but the other 5. Moorhaven, back to the rural classification. Hey, Fred, I appreciate it. It's not that we're sleeping on Moorhaven. I just don't know what the rankings are going to. I don't know if there's going to be enough there for Moorhaven to be able to get into that 16 team bracket. I don't know if there's enough there left. Palmer Trinity, I'll tell you right now, it's great win over Palmer Trinity. Good for y'all, good for Moorhaven. But I got to tell you, the strength of schedule in terms of what y'all have played, the strength of schedule has not been the best. And obviously, again, why strength of schedule matters on some teams versus other teams, I can't answer that.
Yeah, Bay should be at the number 2 seed if they went out.
Yeah. So we'll have to see about that. All right, let's go to Class 3A Region 2 here. Obviously, we've got Bishop Moore sitting at the 1 seed right now. I think Bishop Moore will be that 1 seed. Our rankings agree here. O'Galley 2, rankings agree. Merritt Island 3, again, rankings agree. I think where we start to have our differences is where's Tavares, where's Weeki Watchie, where's Hernando, South Sumter, Eastside. We've got some differences here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yes, Eastside beat South Sumter head to head. But if you really want to look at it, South Sumter has played the better schedule than the Eastside. Maybe even in my mind, as well as Tavares. Merritt Island, they're playing a good foe this week, by the way, Carrollwood Day. So that'll be on our pick 6 here coming up here on our shows tonight. What's interesting is Weeki Watchie is sitting like 9th in that region, and yet they'll be the 8th seed. I feel like Weeki Watchie and Hernando are not getting their due just here because they have turned around. Both teams have turned around their seasons this year, and the rankings. Again, this is where I don't know. There's got to be some kind of transparency. We're not asking for the full formula, which is what goes into it. But no one wants to say what goes into it. I can tell you what goes into our formula. Obviously, it's the game results. That I can tell you right now. Margin of victory, obviously up to 35 points. There is some points given after 35, but it is not full value because, again, it's not about running up the score. All right, the opponent strength index. That's another thing that we can tell in the Florida Power Rankings. And we could literally give you without giving you the formula.
Yep.
And obviously, who you play, your opponents, it matters. You get value for winning games. You also get some value, but you don't get the full. You don't get value you don't get all the value for a team that you lose to.
And it also matters who your opponents play too.
Yeah. So it does matter at the end of the day. So Galley's got a big one against Delray Beach Atlantic this week. But and here's the thing, Titusville, and I want to say the team that is sitting on the outside looking in right this second. Yeah, it's Dunellen. Dunellen actually is 8th in this region, and they're sitting on the outside looking in right this second. So. All right.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. All right. 3A Region 3, which I think this is like the weakest of the regions in Class 3A by far when you look at it. But you've got Booker sitting at 1. We agree there. Jefferson, I'm still having a little hard time being at 2. Jefferson's schedule outside of playing Mitchell this year, I mean, which they lost to, their strength of schedule still is pretty much the same what it was last year.
I put Nature Coach at number 2. I put
I agree.
Number 3.
I don't know, because the Florida Power Rankings Index has got Booker, Nature Coach, Jefferson in that order. Den Chamberlain, Bayshore. Booker. I believe Booker and Bay. I want to say no, maybe it's Booker and Boca. I know with district games this week that we've got a lot going on here. Obviously, then there's Gibbs sitting there. Dunedin is a one team that I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen with them. They're sitting there at 3-5. Gibbs is 2-6, by the way. And yet they're sitting here looking at potential at the number 7 seed. While Mulberry, by the way, 3-5, they would be the 8 seed. They are a district champ, so they're already in. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. There's a lot here.
Mm-hmm. This could shuffle real quickly.
So I definitely think it could be shuffled real quick. And of course, this is what's such a shame here as we go in the Region 4 is that, basically, technically what would probably be the state championship, or at least one of potential 2 pairings of a state championship, Miami North Washington Central. Yeah, they'll play for a regional final, but I digress.
Holy moly.
But yeah, look at it. Miami North Washington, Miami Central rankings agree. Lele for 3. That's actually, we're in agreement there. You got Estero, you got Key West at 4. Our rankings kind of think Key West should be lower than that. Obviously you got Estero, you got Cypress Lake sitting or lurking around in the 5-6 holes. St. Brendan at 7. St. Brendan, this is what's going to be interesting. Keep an eye on Lemon Bay is right on the outside of this. I feel like there's a chance that they could end up surpassing St. Brendan depending on how the last 2 weeks go.
I look at this. You got some really good quality teams in this region. The only problem is you got 2 juggernauts in this region.
And honestly, you know what would be cool? Why don't we just do North and South, seed 1 through 16?
Yeah. Because
I tell you right now, Miami Northwestern would be like the 1 seed. Miami Central would be like the 2 seed in a North South, and they would meet for the state semifinal. At least I would have a better. At least I would feel better them beating in the state semifinal versus meeting for the regional final.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's take a quick break here. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout, and then we're going to come back. Actually, should we take the break here, given the time, or?
Maybe a 1 minute.
Yeah, we'll take a 1 minute break here, and then we'll come back here, and then we'll go with everything here. So we'll be right back here on the Drive the State show here on FortHSFootball.com and the FortHSFootball.com social media platforms. We'll be right back.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought, if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it, because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, it's a great chance that I can do it. The First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Drive the State show here on FortHSFootball.com here as we go through everything. That should not say week 9, it should say week 10. I thought I had gotten everything earlier when I was getting the show ready here and everything, but as we get saying, we appreciate everybody joining us here as we go through the projected brackets here from the rankings from the FHA, which, we wish we could just go ahead and throw into the garbage can because I do not agree with them. Fred, you'll be able to go back and watch the show later on where you got to keep going through the brackets here. So I can't go back and post the rural bracket right now. So we'll just have to you can go back and watch the show here later on here on FloridHSFootball.com. Again here, taking a look at Class 4A Region 1 here, Chris. St. Augustine sitting at 1. You've got Choctaw 2. I feel like Columbia has a good chance, depending on how their game goes with Bowls, not this week, but next week to close out the season. Mm-hmm. If they win that game and they beat Bowls, that would jump them to the 2 seed.
Yeah, Columbia is in an interesting situation here, especially with that game. They could jump real high, and probably it wouldn't shock me if somehow St. Augustine falls off one game.
I don't think given St. Augustine's remaining schedule, I want to say St. Augustine's remaining schedule. I want to say this week is want to say who they got. I'm sorry, my brain is having a Ridgeview, and then they got Mandarin next week. Okay, there's a potential chance they could lose to Mandarin. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah.
If St. Augustine loses that Mandarin game, you got a chance that Columbia could skyrocket to number 1.
There's a good chance. You're right, and there's a very good possibility here. If again, yeah. This is what we're talking about here. This is I'm gonna give credit to Jordan Kroger at the Lake City Reporter because we messaged a little bit earlier, but he posted. I mean, it's pretty much. I'll just say this. It's what we're talking about here. It's like honestly, really, we need to cut a couple classifications. The classifications have got to be reduced. When you've got these 3 and 14 districts, and you got 5, seeds 5 through 8 are all garbage here. I mean, this is pretty much garbage. Rickards, yeah, you're right. Rickards, only 2 wins. When are they sitting at 6?
Yeah.
Pine Forest, they only have 2 wins, by the way.
These 3 teams, and 14 districts, they've got to go.
I don't know. I'm just like,
Well, maybe you can take a 14 district, but get rid of the 3 teams.
Yeah, send help. Somebody send help.
Yeah,
I'm just. Yeah. I mean, it just literally we've got teams that are.
And Scambia sitting there at 7. It just blows my mind that Rickards is ahead of them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyways, Jones 1, sitting there, Zephyr Hills 2. You got Vanguard. Vanguard drops to 5. They lost to Palm Beach Central, but you know what? Palm Beach Central plays some tough teams. Vanguard's played a good schedule so far. I mean,
yeah.
But they get penalized hard here.
The top 4 teams in this region have all played really high quality schedule.
Well, I mean, all top 5, really, if you really want to be honest.
Top 5.
Vanguard too. I mean, Lake Wells at 3. Again, Auburndale at 4. Some of this makes sense here, but I feel like what's really interesting. Then you got New Smyrna Beach sitting there, and they got Rockledge this week. Rockledge is sitting there in the mix here. You got Lecanto at 8. Lecanto, Leesburg. They're right neck and neck. If what's interesting here is if Leesburg somehow beats Lecanto, Leesburg could be in the playoffs. Lecanto could be looking on the out.
Yeah, I love this bracket here because you got a lot of potential for a lot of these rematches coming up in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs with this.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right here. And as we go along and look at Region 3 here. Jesuits at 1. No, we're no disagreement there. Port Charlotte sitting there at 2. No disagreement near Naples, Clearwater, South Fort Myers. You could see they're within the 3, 4, 5 range or rankings 3. Maybe just flip Naples up a little bit, bring South Fort Myers for that. Even though, despite the fact that South Fort Myers does have a head-to-head against Naples here,
Port Charlotte.
Yeah. But this week, Port Charlotte and Naples play each other, so be on the lookout for that one. Woo! And South Fort Myers and Dunbar. By the way, you see Dunbar sitting there at the 7th spot, Southeast at 8. Blake is actually the number 8 team. Southeast is number 9. That district that Southeast is in right now. Everybody in that district's 1-1. There's like 4 different scenarios that could happen here, and I've got that sitting here actually with that district. I kind of wrote that down. I want to say,
yeah, I think that last week I kind of mentioned that that district is a jumbled mess.
Yeah, so if Southeast wins the district if they beat Northeast, and St. Pete wins over Osceola. Northeast wins the district if they beat Southeast, and Osceola beats St. Pete. Osceola will win the district if they win over St. Pete and Southeast wins over Northeast. And then St. Pete wins the district if they win over Osceola and Northeast beats Southeast. So all 4 of these teams could win the district come Friday night.
Yeah.
There's no way for a 3-way tie, by the way, in that district.
No. They're all 1-1.
So, anyways, pretty much what we got sitting here. Blake is on the one team. It's on the outside looking in, despite the fact they are the number 8 seed right now in that region, or the number 8 team, I should say. All right, let's go to 4A Region 4. Let's take a look at it. Archbishop McCarthy jumps up to the 1 seed. Obviously, rightfully so. They deserve it. They beat Plantation American Heritage. They got a big win. Most likely could win the district now, by the way.
Yeah.
So
weeks ago, we said that any chance of Plantation American Heritage losing that district would shake off the entire landscape at this point. And now what's happened.
And I'll tell you right now, there's now even questions. Does American Heritage even make it back to the state championship game now? There's a lot of people asking that now.
Well, if they draw Dillard, all bets are off.
And see, Norland, and what's interesting is Norland let their coach go after they're starting 4-5, and they have them right there in the thick of the playoff. It would be the playoff contention. They're number 6. They beat Columbus this past week. By the way, the Florida Power Rankings Index computer got that right.
Yeah, American Heritage. If they draw Dillard in the second round, that's all bets are off. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this, and I mean, and really, honestly, you know what? Does Dillard have a potential to be the 1 seed in that region? Yes, they do. Archbishop McCarthy, they will be.
If they went out, they deserve to be number 1.
But I can tell you right now, keep an eye on this bracket. Some things, there's going to be some weird things that could happen in this bracket, and
well, yeah, this region, yeah. Yeah, this region is definitely interesting.
Yeah. All right. 5A Region 1. Mainland sitting there at 1. They come back from 4-1. They're up there. But our rankings don't agree. Our rankings actually, this is what's the thing. You got Mainland 1 right here. You got Ponte Vedra 2, Mosley 3, Milton 4, Beachside 5. By the way, I know the alma mater beat Beachside, but they don't get any benefit of jumping Beachside in the rankings. So might as well just go ahead and throw that out. Lincoln 7, and then Niceville 8. By the way, the Florida Power Rankings Index would have this order: Mosley, Ponte Vedra, Middleburg, Milton, Mainland, Beachside, Matanzas, Lincoln. Niceville would be sitting there on the outs.
That district with Middleburg.
It's wide open right now, but Ponte Vedra has the inside track to win the district now.
Yeah, and that district is really going to determine the entire bracket.
So what Middleburg has to do this week, take care of business against Fleming Island. I think they will not because Fleming Island has definitely not they've had their own struggles this year. Middleburg takes care of business. Ponte Vedra takes care of business against Orange Park. Basically, you put it up to the rankings here.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Right now, Ponte Vedra's on the inside track, and they're so. But as it stands right now, this is pretty much, I think, what we're looking at in terms of the teams here that will be in the bracket here as it goes. By the way, as I was talking to Corey Davis from the Palatka Daily News, he told me, and he said, last time Middleburg had a 9-win season, 1990. It's been 30.
We have complained about that issue ad nauseum in the last 2 weeks here.
Yeah. Oh, Nully. Hey, Nully. Welcome to the house. All right, let's go through this here as we roll along here. Class 5A Region 2, Lakeland's at 1. Our rankings kind of disagree here, thinking Edgewater over Lakeland, but again, they're 1-2. Expect those two teams to be in the thing. You got Gaither at 3, kind of agreement, Tampa Bay Tech agreement there. Lake Gibson's an interesting one. They have definitely seen some improvement this year. Could be a 5 or 6 seed here. Hold your hats on to that one here. Spoto, Wesley Chapel, who is a team I feel like maybe could be in the mix here. They're sitting on the outside here. Winter Springs still in the mix, obviously. Winter Springs, yes. Again, there's some things here that I'm, pretty much I feel like Sebring, hats off to them, beating Glade Central 14-13. I feel like that may be just enough that's going to keep them in the hunt here. And right now you see them at 5 seed, despite the fact they only have 3 wins on the season.
Yeah, something's off about this bracket, but I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's Spoto. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, here we go. Look at this here. When we talk about this region here, you got Riverdale sitting there at 1. I agree. They beat Cape Coral again. Projected rate, but stay just because you're 8-0 doesn't mean you're going to win that game. And I feel like Riverdale is a much stronger team. Sure enough, they are. Cape Coral falls down to 3. Manatee's at 2. Manatee's an interesting case study here, considering that the fact that they're 3-5, that they could win their district, be in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, our rankings have got Manatee a bit lower right now.
Yeah,
but
I disagree with Manatee being number 2. I just disagree with it.
But yeah. You got Cape Coral 3, Mockley 4, Gulf Coast, Pinellas Park 5, Gulf Coast 6. Obviously, you see the rest. North Fort Myers sitting there 7, and Charlotte at 8. I mean, there's going to be some fluctuation with this bracket here, but
yeah, Manatee, I just don't see them being in the top 4. I don't.
I agree. All right, Class 5A Region 4. This is where I have some disagreements. I feel like St. Thomas should be 1, Atlantic 2, despite the fact that Atlantic's 8-0. But we don't have much time for nitpicking here. We've got them. Let's go through here. You've got Coconut Creek, who's sitting at 4. Obviously, you got Mater Academy sitting at 3. Mater, I just don't know. Mater has not. They haven't played the strongest schedule. They're going to play Immaculate Cell this week. That'll help them a little bit. But, look at
this schedule's not as strong as it seems. But
we digress. Martin County, obviously, you got sitting in there in the mix. North Miami, the fighting Larry Bluesteins, by the way. Shout out to Larry Bluestein, as always. And then you got obviously one team that I feel like could be in, that maybe should be in versus over Miramar would be Palm Bay Heritage, but they got to play Martin County. They played Martin.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see Miramar as a playoff team in that.
No, not considering the Miami Herald took them out of their rankings too, by the way. So they're their regional rankings. So there you go. That tells you something, right?
Yeah.
So. Anyways, let's take a look at Class 6A Region 1 here as we roll along here. Obviously, see Buchholz at 1. Buchholz, definitely, we have an agreement there. I'm going to go through here. Buchholz 1, Pace 2, Mandarin 3, Oakley 4. I'll tell you this. You get the Nice 5, Evans 6. I'll tell you who's getting the shaft right now in this region. And I'll tell you here, Chris, who do you think who do you feel like is getting the shaft here in this region right now out of these 8 teams?
Go ahead and say it. I mean,
it's Evans. Evans is getting the shaft here.
Yeah, I see that too.
Really, honestly, Evans should be a 2 or 3. Evans has played a hell of a schedule. They have quality wins against Jones and Lake Mary. Yes, Mark Canning, yes. They are getting the shaft here in these rankings. This is why the ranking. This is where I have a big issue with the rankings here. Yes, I'm lampooning it because Evans should be in the top 4 seeds right now. If they're not in the top 4 of this seeds, they're not really actually top 3. I will have even more questions when this comes out. Seriously, we will put up when we go live on Thursday, November 6th. We will put up the rankings. We will put up what we feel like who are going to be the. We won't. What we'll do that week. We won't put.
We'll put our projected playoff rankings.
We're gonna before the FHA goes out with that, we're gonna put out what we feel is the projected bracket. And at that point, we're gonna see how close we are. Because I'll tell you right now, as it stands,
maybe we should go on earlier than
we may go on to 11.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not Josh's test tonight. I'm passionate, but I want things need to be done right. That's my thing. Things just need to be done right. That's where I'm standing out here.
It's just a ball of inconsistency throughout the entire 7 classes. That's the problem.
That exactly is the problem. That's where that's where I have the problem with. But again, this is what you see here. Another team that I feel like maybe should be in versus not for Crestview, be Tate. Yeah, and right now Tate's on the outside looking in. Lake Hal's another one on the outside looking in.
Over Oviedo right now.
Butcher, another team that's on the outside looking in.
Tate should be in over Oviedo right now.
But I digress. All right, here we go. Look at it. Armwood 1, Osceola's 3, but I feel like they probably should be 2. Melbourne. By the way, Melbourne play Osceola close this year, so
Melbourne should be 3.
Hey, Charles, we already talked about rural. We start with rural, we go up. So you have to go back and watch. We did have some things to say on rural when we talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
South Lake at 2. This one bothers me a little bit about South Lake. It's not that there's nothing I have against South Lake. It's just that I feel like I don't know the strength of schedule matches up again. This whole thing of strength of schedule, I just don't get. I just don't get some of the issues that we've got here. Obviously, forced.
If South Lake was number 4, I would have no problem with it.
But I'm having a problem with it.
If they're number 2, it's just jumping itches out at me about this.
And I'll tell you this right now. I mean, you got Riverview, you got Durant. I mean, Durant, in our rankings, Durant wouldn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I've got some questions here because obviously you got Forest in the mix. You got Plant. You know what? Plant may be 3 and 5, but Plant is probably one of the better 3 and 5 teams you've got right now in the state in terms of their strength of schedule. Look who they played.
Mm-hmm.
So what does strength of schedule even matter here? This is where coaches are questioning everything. This is where coaches are questioning everything. Does strength of schedule really matter for some teams and not others? Is what goes into it? Because they're tired of trying to like, oh well, we don't schedule tough enough. Oh well, we don't get in, or we schedule too tough, we don't get in, or we schedule the balance, and for scheduling balance, oh we're all the way down here. Oh, this team had an easy schedule, but guess what? They're all the way up here.
It'd be interesting to get some coaches' feedback on a live radio or on a live podcast that we're doing on November 6th with this.
We may have some coaches that want to jump in, and we'll put it out there. I think strength of schedule needs to be in there, but the problem is nobody knows how the strength of schedule is working. That's the problem, Nolly.
Yeah. Strength of schedule. The problem with the strength of schedule needs to be worked in. It's inconsistent throughout the entire thing.
I feel like it's more about wins and losses. Forget everything else. But yes, you got to win games, but at the same time, there's got to be. Anyways, here we go. Look at
this bracket. I can't. I just toss this bracket in the trash.
No. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hear me out. Hear me out for a moment. West Boca probably should be 1, but here's the thing. You look at Palmetto, they play Leonard this week. That'll take care of some things there. Okay. Parish community, hats off the Parish community. They beat Leonard. I mean, they're the top 3. I mean, West Boca probably should be 1. Yes, did they lose to Cardinal Newman? Yes, I get that.
Yeah.
But they should have been 1 for all along. You got Mitchell, you got Largo, you got Eastlake. Then the team. Then you got Land O'Lakes lurking around here. So I mean, I don't have much issues sitting here in terms of who's in here.
I don't have an issue with the team. I just have an issue with the way this thing is laid out.
Yeah. By the way, the one team that probably should be sitting there and like, what's heck's wrong with us is why are we not in the mix and thing is Royal Palm Beach. That would be the one team that I feel like they're right on the outside.
And Royal Palm Beach deserves to be in there.
So, anyways. All right, Region 4 here. Miami Southridge agreed. They did lose to Miami Central, so they did get their first loss of the year. I agree. West Broward agree. Flanagan, Monarch, you probably could flip them around, in my opinion. And then there's the one team.
South Broward twice.
I feel,
You got South Broward in there twice.
Oh well, I think. Well, honestly, that is my fault there on that one. I'll tell you. I'll pull it up here as to who should have been on that one. Because I don't remember who should have been in there. I knew I would end up making that mistake on one of them. That's on me. That's on me there. All right, so let me just call it up here real quick here as we do this here with the regions here, and I'll bring it to y'all here in just a second here as to who in that 6A region 4, who should be sitting there. Okay, so it's because the problem is when I was looking at it, I think it was on two different. You got Southwich, West Broward, Flanagan, Monarch, Durrell, South Plantation, Piper. But you know what? I'm sorry. Piper should be that 8 seed or 7 seed, I should say. So Piper should be in the 7 seed. I apologize about that. So that's where we're at. So Piper 7 seed. Yeah, and South Plantation did drop the Cooper City. I get that. Yeah, I mean Cooper City. It's one of those things. It's
if all those matchups, the one that's really standing out to me is that West Broward South Broward matchup.
Yeah.
That is a really juicy matchup right there, despite the seedings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. A lot's going to happen here in terms of. Yeah. Anyways, here we go. 7A Region 1 here. You got the land sitting here. Obviously, 1 seed. I agree with that. Boone 2. Agree with that. Interesting enough, our ranking still is ranking Lake Brantley a little higher. Lake Brantley, yes, they've lost 2 district games, but you got to give them credit. They, considering where they were at last year, much better. What's interesting here is the one team that I feel like is going to be on the outside looking in, and that's because obviously Creekside's going to be that 8 seed. It's going to be, I'll be honest with you, it's going to be Seminole. Now, here's the thing. Haggerty plays Seminole this week. Haggerty beats Seminole. All bets are off. Seminole wins. We got issues.
Yeah, and this bracket is still a hot mess. I mean,
yeah, it's a hot mess. Anyways, we got just a little bit of time left here. We don't have a guest for the first show of the night, so we're not necessarily if we don't get right on at 7:30, but we got guests for the rest of the shows tonight here. Really quick here, look at it. Venice is now into that 1 seed here. Venice, Riverview, you're gonna see him fight for that 1-2 spot. I'll tell you that right now. Just keep an eye on that here. Going through that here, you got West Orange, Plant City at 4-5. You got Sumner, Winter Haven 3-6. I mean, the teams you see here, the one team that's probably on the outside looking in, it's gonna be Strawberry Crest, but we'll have to see. And sorry, Mark. I don't know I don't think your Sarasota Sailors are going to make it in this year. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this bracket, and we've debated Strawberry Crest for weeks now. So.
By the way, this would be a bracket that would have a Popka in it, but Popka is nowhere to be found this year. Sitting there at a 1-6 record, so one of the worst records they've had in a very, very, very long time. Remember when Sarasota used to be part of this show?
Oh, Lord.
Pepperidge Farms remembers. All right. 2 more brackets here. All right. Region 3, Vero Beach 1. Definitely agree with that. Jupiter 2. Agree with that, actually. Fort Pierce Central 3. Agree with that. Dr. Phillips. Agree with that. East Ridge 7 probably could be a little higher, but I digress there. You got St. Cloud at 5. St. Cloud, in the mix. Lake Nona, yes. Palm Beach Central, here they are. They did get a big win over Vanguard. They're moving up now. The one, Trying to look at it here. Yeah, the teams that you see here, I think these are the teams that you're going to see here.
Yeah. A lot of interesting matchup within their own city limits.
I'll say 7A Region 1 and 7A Region 3 might be the most interesting of the brackets that we're going to have here in terms of the brackets for both for 7A. 7A Region 4, outside of Miami Palmetto being one, that's fine. Santa Lucia's probably could be higher. I mean, I don't know. I don't agree with Spanish River being that too, but
I don't either.
I think Coleman probably could be up there in terms of the 2 spot potentially, or 3. I mean, again, you see Coral Glades is now up into the 8th seed here. Obviously, you got South Dade's in the mix here. Columbus is in the mix here. There's some agreements here. I would watch Coral Glades and see what Coral Gables does. Coral Gables could slide into that 8th spot, but man, there's just some things here.
You know, for all the things about this region, it's really it's a top-heavy region, but it's a very weak region.
No, I agree. There, it's a very
top-heavy region, but it's a very weak region, and Western is one of those reasons why.
Yeah, there's a lot there. All right. Anyways, boy, any final thoughts to this, Chris, as we wrap this show here? Oops.
I mean, we still got our disagreements here. I mean, we still got issues with the strength of schedule. So, yeah.
Absolutely here. And again, there's a lot here that we have to digest here. But anyways, give us a few minutes here as we wrap up the show here, get ourselves set for our first of the regional Blitz shows that we've got tonight here. Coming up here just slightly after 7:30, maybe go on at 7:35. We don't have a guest, so we're just going to kind of do some Blitz lines and talk things over from week number 9 here as we do that here on the Southwest Florida Blitz coming up here in a moment here. But appreciate everybody watching us here on the Drive the State edition of the Blitz. That's Christopher Like. I'm Josh Wilson here. Appreciate y'all. We'll be back next Tuesday for another Drive the State edition of the Blitz. So coming up next is the Southwest Florida edition of the Blitz here. We'll see you here in just a few minutes.